The Last of Us Season 2 has came to an end and I'm left feeling kind of disappointed. Like, to me, it just didn't really feel like a season finale. It almost felt like a random filler episode, then a great end to a season that should be getting me excited for Season 3. So what on earth went wrong? I think the main issue is that we know what a Last of Us finale can be like, because we got one at the end of Season 1 and that certainly left an impact on me. It got me wanting more. I wanted to watch Season 2 because I wanted to find out what would happen between Ellie and Joel, and I loved this huge divide and change that the finale set up between Ellie and Joel. Everything that season had been building up to finally came together in the finale, with Ellie finally meeting up with the Fireflies, to then the twist reveal that she will actually have to die in order to fulfill her destiny, to the dark turn of Joel's outrage murdering everyone in the hospital. Then the big lie at the end, a perfect way to create suspense and a cliffhanger, making you question whether you should trust these characters that we've gotten to know over this last season. The latest episode didn't really do any of that. Yes, Ellie did finally meet up with Abby, who she's been trying to meet up with throughout the whole season, but that didn't really land whatsoever. For reference, the end of Season 1 on IMDb currently has a score rating of 9 out of 10, which is pretty good and quite actually low for that season, whereas the end of Season 2 has a rating of 6.6 out of 10. That is a massive drop. But what were the problems that caused this massive drop? Well, I think the first major thing is that this technically wasn't an ending. There is no The Last of Us Part 3 video game. Instead, HBO has decided to tell the story of The Last of Us Part 2 video game across 2 seasons instead of 1. So it didn't actually feel like a full ending like how the first season did. But I don't see why that should be a problem. Just like with any other show, the story may not have fully ended, but that chapter has closed. And they should still be coming to a satisfying conclusion at the end of the season, even if you do involve a cliffhanger. Other HBO shows do this perfectly, just look at something like Game of Thrones, for example. The main issue is that the final episode just felt way too quick. The pacing was completely off, because for some reason we ended on episode 7 rather than episode 9 like the last season. And so all of this character development seems to have been fitted into a very short space of time. We go from Ellie hunting down Abby's crewmates, who she's been trying to find all season, to suddenly in the space of 1 episode, her not being able to find any of the other crew members, to then finding them, to then not being able to find Abby, to then Abby finding her, and this all seems to happen within the space of like, what, 15 minutes? Like, it's just really unrealistic how suddenly she can't find anyone and then suddenly she can find everyone. And with this bad pacing, they try to give Ellie a major character dilemma for a season finale, which you'd expect, which has been building all season. But the problem is they establish this conflict within this same episode and then try to solve it within this same episode, and you can't do that in 1 episode. Like, it's just too much. They tried to do a similar thing to what they did with Joel at the end of last season by Joel suddenly turning and killing everyone and deciding whether or not he should feel bad or not, as it was for the greater good for Ellie. And they tried to repeat this sort of thing by having Ellie not wanting to shoot Abby's crew, but then accidentally shooting Abby's crew and killing all the members, and her trying to like reconcile in herself, but then she sees Abby, and I honestly couldn't tell you how she feels about the whole situation at the end of the day. Like, is she remorseful? Does she regret it, or does she not? Because suddenly it just ends without being able to clear up any of this character development. And then the action just felt really weirdly paced. We have this boat scene with Ellie, which I know is from the games, but it just felt really unrealistic even for this show, which is a show all about zombies taking over the place. Like, how would Ellie know what to do with a boat when she's never needed to use one before? Like, in any scenario that we've seen her in, she's never been near the sea in order to use a high-class speedboat. What happens with the boat is just absolutely ridiculous, because the boat goes overboard, and then there's not even any shots of her underwater as the boat's going overboard. Instead, we just get a shot of her coming straight out of the boat safely on the shore, and then she gets back in and rides it again. Like, what? Like, all of that should have taken place probably over 1 full episode. And not forgetting, because I actually did forget until I went back and checked the episode when editing this video, that Ellie nearly gets hung as well throughout this episode, which I'd completely forgotten about because there's so much stuff going on because the pacing's off. And then we've got that ending, and I know it happens in the game and it's meant to be really hard hitting, but it really didn't. After all this really bad pacing, we suddenly get Abby showing up out of the blue, even though we've established in this episode that Ellie can't find Abby, so she just sort of comes out of nowhere, which really doesn't help the pacing whatsoever. She shows up, then she kills Jesse just after we were about to have some sort of character development with him, to then Abby just shooting Ellie, and then it just ends. And this all happens within like, what, 20, 30 seconds? Like, there is no build up whatsoever. It just sort of ends, and I sat there thinking, is that it? Like, I'm just so confused. The Last of Us is built on emotional devastation, subsidized by action. Not this. I mean, think about the best episode of this season. It's when Joel is being killed by Abby, and that takes up pretty much the entire episode. In order to kill our main character, we have to spend ages with them in the build-up. However, within the same time frame, we've got all of this load of mess that we've had in this episode. I think it really just needed to take its time, especially in order to build the tension for that cliffhanger to settle in. Because if we can have a full episode focusing on Joel's death, why on earth is this thing happening in 20 seconds? But what did you guys think about this? Do you reckon that The Last of Us Season 2 finale has kind of just been a bit unlucky because technically it isn't the ending and we're waiting for Season 3? Or do you think it was just badly paced and wasn't as good as the Season 1 finale? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and as always, we've been here on Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.